Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Crafting and Crime Daily. I'm your host, Rebecca, and I recap live trials so you have something to listen to while you're crafting. And today we're going to continue the story of Bree Kuhn, who was put on trial for murder. Now, this trial is not live. This happened a couple of weeks ago, so we're backing up a couple of weeks because we don't have Sarah Boone to cover. That trial got continued because of Hurricane Milton. Yes, so I'm going to fit a couple more pieces of the puzzle into this case. We're putting the puzzle together a little bit at a time. I found a couple of missing pieces that you're going to want to hear about. Welcome back. All right, Bree Kuhn. She's accused of murdering her husband September 8th, 2021. And there's no question that she shot him. We know she shot him. The question is, why did she shoot him? That's the bigger question. Is she claiming self-defense? Is she claiming post-traumatic stress disorder? What's going on here? Is she claiming insanity? All of these defenses are available to her. She did not, if you're going to claim a battered woman defense, you have to notify the court ahead of time because they have to set up the experts and stuff. And I don't believe that happened in this case. So I think she's just claiming basic self-defense, stand your ground, that type of thing. She was in a place where she had a right to be. She had no duty to retreat from that place. This was her home. It was his home too. But she had no duty to retreat. Because you're like, why don't you just take the kids and leave, sweetheart? She has no duty to do that. And if he is the aggressor and she feels like her life is in imminent danger, then she has the right to defend herself. Now, was her life in imminent danger? I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, so we've seen the body cam footage of the officers coming to the house twice that day. The first time where she calls 911 to complain about him battering her, threw her into a wall, threw her on the ground, and oh, by the way, he raped me over the weekend, which the officer claims to not have heard. And I didn't mention that when this officer was on the stand, he was in plain clothes. I don't know if he's still an officer or not. I don't know how this has affected him, but he made it a point to tell the jury that was on him. Hey, that's on me. I should have paid attention when she told me that. And I honestly don't remember her saying that. And that's on me. Ooh. Does someone feel bad about not acknowledging that she may have been sexually assaulted? Anyway, I'm just saying. I'm not taking sides here because I don't think this woman is entirely without fault. Anyway, so one of the pieces to the puzzle is her brother. So here's what happened. The state puts on their case. We see all the body cam footage. We see one more piece of, that was on rebuttal. Okay, we see all the body cam footage. Then they rest their case after the 911 call. So here is the 911 call. Now, I'm just going to warn you up front. It's chilly. Her husband, Collin Turner, is locked in the garage, and he calls 911. And he's very calm on the phone, and he's communicating with the 911 operator. And then all of a sudden, you're going to hear a big bang. And you're going to go, holy shit. So take a listen.
Your fault emergency. Hi, you guys have been out to my house twice today, and then most recently the deputy talked to my wife and let me in the house, and then she locked me in the garage, and I tried to break my arm, and I was trying to get back inside.
What's your address, sir?
6184 Jenks, Kenks Drive. she's currently got me locked in the garage because earlier she broke both of the big doors, and then when I came out here to fix it after getting in the house earlier, she locked the door behind me. And when I tried to come out,
What was that?
she just shot me.
Oh, I'm shooting somebody. She just shot him. I just heard 4 shots. Sir, are you there? So we need to get somebody there. He's not answering.
Like I said, chilling. And then she's like, he's not responding. Hello? What? Hello? Yeah. And then when they get there, when the officer gets there for the 3rd time, well, it's not the same officer, but when another officer gets there, she's like, I shot him. He's dead. I shot him. Now the kids have no parents. They don't have me. They don't have a dad. Now we think because the demeanor there was because she was in shock. So the state rests their case after this, and the defense is hemming and hawing. Are we putting her on the stand? Are we not putting her on the stand? She wanted to take the stand. But there's some law that in the state of Florida right now that's kind of unsettled about PTSD and using it as a defense. And you can only use it if the witness takes the stand, if the person takes the stand. I didn't understand it. Honestly, I didn't understand it. But they kind of were asking the judge for some guidance about how he might rule if she took the stand, and they wanted an expert to come in and say she's suffering from PTSD. And the judge was like, because he's like, the law in Florida is all over the place on this. So, anyway, she opted not to take the stand, but her brother took the stand. She was supposedly on the phone with her brother that day. This is her younger brother, Keith. I believe his name is Keith or Kevin. I could be wrong. Might not even start with a K. I don't know. But interesting guy. Seemed like he was on the quiet side. He talked about growing up. I think there were some other siblings. I don't think they were the only 2. But he said he grew up with mom. She grew up with dad. That mom was very, very abusive, physically abusive to his sister. And she goes to live with dad up in New York. And he stays to live with his mom I think they landed in Texas. And anyway, he said the last time before this incident that he had actually seen his sister was a couple of years before this happened. He and his sister, his sister and Collin were having marital issues, and they asked him to come along while they go on this vacation to Key Largo. But now I don't understand that. If I'm having marital issues and I'm trying to work these things out with my husband, I'm not bringing my brother. Just not going to happen. No. But they bring him, and they all have a good time. He says he saw no evidence of turmoil, abuse, nothing on this trip to Key Largo. But you know what they came back with from Key Largo? The shirt Collin had on the day he was murdered. Key Largo. Ruined a perfectly good shirt. Anyway, no witnessed abuse. So he did say his sister had been very depressed. And I think it was in March of that year, 2021, she had actually tried to kill herself. And he knows this because he was on the phone with her when she took all of her medication. And he said Collin was there in the home with her, and Collin wasn't doing anything about it. He's like, oh, you did? You took the medicine. Okay. Good night. So, and they've shown pictures of her pill bottles. And I want to say she had tramadol, Toradol, oxycodone. Like, she had the entire medicine cabinet gamut of drugs you probably should not be taking. in combination. So she's apparently took all those, saying she was going to kill herself, hiding in a closet. He tries to get Collin's attention about because he's there in the home, and Collin's like not paying it any mind. So he decides he's calling 911. They have her Baker acted. That's what they call it in Florida, Baker Act. That's where you're committed for 72 hours, involuntarily committed for 72 hours while they evaluate you. And she goes into a hospital and for depression, and they treat her. Then she goes into this intensive outpatient program. They call it's an IOP through the Navy, and she's supposed to be doing these treatments. And apparently, she was not cooperating with the treatments. So this guy, this brother, is very critical of Collin because he didn't want to help her. She's threatening to kill herself, and he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." So that particular day, the day of the murder, Bree calls her brother several times. He says, I was on the phone with her several times that day. And apparently what was going on was she had planned on having a surgery. And he did not say what the surgery was. He said, it's not cosmetic. It wasn't to improve her looks or anything like that. It was for health reasons. But he was saying that if she goes in for this surgery, he's taking the kids and going to mom's house with the kids. And that she'll never see her kids again. Now, I don't know what the heck the surgery was, but okay. And the way the brother put it was he was going to kidnap the kids. And finally, it was pointed out to him by the prosecutor, listen, if they're your kids, you can't really kidnap your own kids. Okay, right? He goes, well, that's true. But he was going to take them. Okay. So he said he was on the phone with her, and he said for several minutes right before the shooting. And then he changed several minutes to 45 minutes. And he said during this time that he's on the phone with her that evening, he can hear ruckus in the background. He can hear the kids crying. He can hear Collin's voice is raised. He says he could hear scuffling. He heard his sister cry out, like she'd been hurt. And then apparently she dropped her phone, and he heard a scuffle on the ground. And this is what he heard. He was not aware, clearly, that Collin was on the phone with 911 when all of this went down. He said that Collin was saying he was going to kill the kids. And she kept saying repeatedly, you're not killing my kids. You're not killing my kids. So during this phone call, she goes to get the gun to protect herself and the kids. And he's aware that she goes and gets this gun. He said she went and got it out of her closet. So she's setting all this up. She's got a witness on the phone. She's got her brother. Ow, you're hurting me. Collin's not even in the same room with her. Collin is locked in the garage. So I don't know what this brother's hearing. But she's setting it up. She said, now I've got a witness to the alleged abuse. And yeah, this guy did not come across as being at all credible. At all credible. He's trying to protect his sister. He doesn't want his sister to go to jail. It's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Then, so that was the defense witness. Then she decides she's not going to take the stand. So that was their witness. They rest. They didn't put on any doctors to talk about her mental health. They didn't put on any experts to talk about self-defense. Like nothing. Just her brother. But what it does is it's enough to get the case to a jury to decide whether or not she was truly trying to defend herself. Is it beyond a reasonable doubt? Not in my mind. Anyway. So the state puts on a rebuttal case. The first person they put on is an officer who was also at the scene, whose body cam footage we did not see prior to this. So we saw body cam footage of a second officer on that first phone call. There were two officers. One was standing out there with Collin. The other officer, we've already seen his body cam. He goes in to talk to her, and we hear her saying, that she was battered and raped, but we got to see this officer's conversation with Collin, in which he tells the entire story. Apparently, the night before, he's in bed with the kids. They're all sleeping. She comes in. She wants to watch some show, The 100. She wants to watch The 100. And he's like, everybody's asleep. No. So she puts the TV on. So he goes out and he turns the internet off. And now she's pissed. So he gets up the next morning and he's like, where's my laptop? She's like, I don't know. He finds it in the dishwasher. She took his $2,500 laptop, MacBook, whatever, puts it in the dishwasher and runs the dishwasher. So that doesn't start that day off on a very good footing. So then they proceed to argue all day long. And he wanted to take the kids. He told the officer, I just wanted to get away. I needed a break from her. I just want to take the kids, go to my mom's, and get a break from her. And that's what started this whole thing. She kept locking him out of the house. Yeah. As we now know, she locked him in the garage. After the second phone call to the police leave. They tell her, you got to let him back in the house, because she had locked him out of the house. It's his house too. You got to let him back in. So she lets him back in. She locks him in the garage. Then gets her brother on the phone to set up this whole thing. Now, according to her, she didn't have to testify because we heard her police interview. According to her police interview, where was I going with this? Okay. Oh, he was coming at her. He was coming towards her, kicking her. Well, honey, you shot him in the back 4 times. And at some point you went and got a gun. So why were you carrying this gun? You had him locked in the garage. Why did you feel it necessary to go in your bedroom, closet, get the gun, come back, unlock the garage door, and go out there and shoot him? If he was coming at you and kicking, how did you shoot him in the back 4 times? Okay. So the second rebuttal witness, this was the final nail in the coffin. This was Kylie. There's a 12-year-old involved. The 3-year-old and the 4-year-old belonged to Bree and Collin. The 12-year-old belonged to Bree, and baby daddy takes the stand. And he is good looking. He is a DEA agent. Drug Enforcement Administration. Criminal investigator with the Drug Enforcement Administration. And, credible. Yeah. He got some texts from Collin about being locked in the garage. And those texts he got are chilling because they come immediately before the murder. Listen to his testimony. It's not lengthy. Watch his testimony.
Now, on the day of the shooting, did you have any contact with Mr. Collin Turner?
Yes, sir, I did.
And how did that contact come about?
He texted me, initiated a conversation with me about an argument that him and Bree were having.
And the nature of your contact with Mr. Turner that day, how were you guys communicating all that day?
It was all via text.
Did you ever speak to him on the phone?
No, sir, I did not.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Sir, I've handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 108 for identification purposes. Do you recognize those messages?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And how do you recognize those messages?
It's a conversation between myself and Collin the night of the incident.
And is that an accurate copy of the text messages that you and Collin sent back and forth?
Yes, sir, it is.
At this time, I'd like to move into evidence State's Exhibit 108.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 108 will be admitted into evidence.
And I would move to publish, Judge.
You may.
I'm ready, whenever you're ready. Agent Joanna, what is the time of that first message?
Appears to be 12:55 p.m.
And the messages on the left in the white, who is sending them those messages?
That's Collin, and that's myself in the darker shade.
And can you read the first message that Collin sent you that day?
Yes, sir. Hey, man, Bree's losing it. She ran my laptop through the dishwasher last night because I turned the Wi-Fi off. I'm planning on getting out of here with the little kids, but she's already told me she'll press charges if I take Kylie with me. I don't know what you can do legally, but I wanted to give you a heads up.
And how did you respond to Collin?
I said, damn, dude, I hate that. I'm not sure what to do, but thanks for the heads up. I was really hoping that she, referring to Bree, had gotten better.
And what was Collin's response to you?
She got kicked out of 2 group therapies and she skipped her last 2 individual therapies, still drinking a lot.
And what was the time of your next message back to Collin?
It's 18:09, 6:09 p.m., I believe is what it was.
And what did you ask Collin, or what did you say to Collin?
I said, everything okay, man?
And how did Collin respond to you?
He said, nah, gonna be worse before it gets better too. She's always told her stories about you, and I thought you sucked. But now that I think about it, she's crazy as hell and probably did the same stuff to you.
And how did you respond to Collin?
I said, I definitely had my down days, and I did my share of wrong in the past, but I'm sure there's plenty more to the stories you don't know, as you can probably see now.
And what was Collin's next message to you?
Yep, she just locked me in the garage because I wouldn't talk to her.
And what was the time Collin sent you that message?
6:13 p.m. approximate.
Okay. And how did you respond to Collin's statement about being locked in the garage?
I said, if you ever want to talk, I probably know more about what you're going through. You were able to keep her happy a lot longer than me, and you somehow have been able to get through to her more than I ever did.
Did you ever have any more communication with, oh, thank you, Judge. Did you ever have any more communication with Collin?
No, sir.
Now, again, you didn't speak with him on the phone, so everything you know about the situation that day is in these text messages. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you discuss any of the things he's telling you about the issues they're having that day? Did you discuss any of that with Bree?
No, sir.
Okay. At some point that day, did you speak with Bree?
I did.
Right. How did that come about?
She contacted me. She called me. I answered the phone, and she said, you need to come get your daughter to some extent. And I thought, maybe she's just being a 12-year-old. And I said, why do I need to come get my daughter? And she said, I just shot Collin. And I responded, I said, why? And she said, I don't know. She said, you just need to come get Kylie. And I said, okay, I'm on the way.
Did she give any more description about what had happened?
No.
And where did you, once she has contacted you and told you this, where did you go?
I was on the way pretty much immediately to her residence in Gulf Breeze.
Now, prior to that day, or up until including that day, Collin was Kylie's stepdad. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever have any concerns about Collin being a stepdad to Kylie?
No, sir. He was was great, and she had nothing but good things to say about him all the time.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Etheridge, cross-examination.
Yes, sir.
What'd you think? I think she set this man up. I think first-degree murder is absolutely appropriate in this instance. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Today, I'm going to listen to the closing arguments, and then I will summarize those for you tomorrow, and I will let you know how this case turned out in tomorrow's episode. So have a great day, everybody. I should be live tonight. I'm not positive because my sister's being discharged. So if I am, look for me. It's Craft With Me Wednesday, and I should be doing one of my building sets. I'm working on one. This is probably the hardest one I've ever done, but we're going to get through it. It's the pumpkin one with the pumpkin carriage. Oh my. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody. Bye.